Good evening. We are Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, and Max Barr of Southeastern 14 here to recap SEC basketball action today, Saturday, doing this live. So we'll take your questions, address your comments. And as we're doing this, we got two games that have yet to wrap up, Tennessee and Texas A&M and LSU and Mississippi State. We will recap the other games. We will, of course, talk some about Hunter's checked in. You're welcome. About the other 5 games that have been completed. And boy, it was an interesting day, gentlemen. A reminder to everybody, this is presented by BetOnline, which continues to be our number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year with up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends. You can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today. Become part of the team. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, the game starts here. Blake Lovell, start with you. What most caught your eye today in SEC hoops?
Oh, I wonder why, Max. I wonder why he would ask that question to me first. Boy, a real curiosity effect is really hitting here. I wonder why you led with that, Chris. I can't wait to have this conversation because, boy, I've got some things to say to respond to you. I already know what you're coming at with me, but I'll tell you what stood out today. Good basketball being played in Lexington, Kentucky. That's what stood out today. A great game. If I'm going to watch a basketball game, give me 117-95 over 52-50, okay? I'm all for this product that the Alabama Crimson Tide have put on the floor. But also, how about those Kentucky Wildcats, huh? Ooh. My goodness. The Cats looked fantastic. And I know everybody will poke fun at Alabama about the defense and all that, I'm sure. I'm sure Chris will bring that up. But, man, Kentucky looked good. And I don't even remember what I texted you guys, but I said something along the lines of, if Kentucky gets this Justin Edwards, who has taken some crap from Kentucky fans this season. Remember the guy, we said going in, Max, we're like, this guy's a projected top 3 pick in the NBA draft, all that going into the season. That was all the discussion, right? Well, this guy looked like it today. He looked like he was, I know he hasn't had the season probably that most people expect him to have from just the numbers perspective, but holy cow. He did a lot of good things today, and if he's playing like that moving forward and Kentucky's got everybody else around him, Big Z, Max Barr, Big Z's back.
He's back.
The Cats are on the prowl once again.
I mean, hey, you know how much I love my bully ball, how much I love my gritty 55-54 games. But are you kidding me with this game? What was it, 212? I think it was. What? What? I mean, and you know what? Just before I get into the game, my favorite part of the whole game here was not only the fact that Justin Edwards finally broke through and had his game that BBN has just been waiting for, but did you see his post-game press conference, Blake and Chris? Did you guys see it?
I actually didn't see it. No, I did not see it.
Oh my gosh, I love the kid. He was talking about his struggles through mental health and how Reed Shepherd helped him get connected with a mental health coach and how it's just kind of helped him loosen up a little bit and be a little bit more free on the court, play his game a little bit more. And then when you see that come to fruition, it's just the best thing. So I thought, one great game, but if there was a guy to have the game, thank goodness it was Justin Edwards, because he deserved it with the season he's had. It was a great finish, a great cap on a great game is what I'm trying to say. But other than that, around the league, a lot of other high scores too. 88 for Arkansas, 97 for Auburn, 77 for Florida, which isn't much for them, but a lot of scoring today, guys.
Gentlemen, I have but one thing to say for myself today.
Here it comes.
I saved this for a special occasion, and here it is.
Oh, don't bring this bag out. Oh, here we go. No. Here comes the bag.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, gosh. Oh. All right, by the way, guys, you're leaving some comments before we get to Wait, what happened here? What did you do?
Did you not see that?
No. What do you think the people listening on a podcast right now are going to think? They haven't
They're
seen
watching
any of this.
us right now.
No. What do you think the people on the audio podcast
Max, you can
tomorrow,
read.
what are they going to think? They have no
I
idea
didn't
what
see
you just
anything.
did. Spell it out. I didn't see anything either.
It says "you big dummy," and that's what I am.
Oh,
Boy,
you're talking about the shirt. Okay.
If you're gonna miss on your picks, just miss badly. I missed on Auburn, I missed on Kentucky, and I missed on South. And I think I missed by a combined, 219 points between those three. I mean, this league, you do not ever know. I mean, as we're sitting here as a rematch between A&M and Tennessee that is finishing, that was lopsided one way the first time and lopsided the other way the second time. I mean, it's just been that kind of year.
Yeah. I mean, you did pick Alabama in this game, Chris. You're right. Max
You're
and
welcome,
I, we
Hunter.
were all in on the Cats
pointed
here.
it out.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Because Max and I, we've been the low men on Alabama, but we had to tell it like it was, right? We had to pick Kentucky in this one. So,
Well, I mean, listen, Blake, we've been saying that all year with the spots. We've been saying it all year with the spots. I mean, and it's nothing against Alabama. That could have been any team in the top half of the SEC. Could have been anyone. Could have been Tennessee. Could have been Auburn. Could have been South Carolina. Alabama just so happens to be. You come off of an overtime thrilling win against another top half team, and now you got to go on the road. It's just a tough emotionally thing to do, to get back up for. Could have been anyone. It just so happened to be Alabama in this spot.
Well, look at some of the stuff that happened today. We are now 3.5 months into the season, and if you had game scripted Kentucky, Alabama, would you have said Kentucky leads by 30-something points at one point? And oh, by the way, it's Justin Edwards and Big Z. Chaney Johnson got a season high in minutes and points at Auburn today, or not at Georgia where Auburn played. I mean, you just had little things that were just out of the blue going on here and there today. And suddenly Mississippi State looks like is going to win on the road. I mean, that one's not over, but as we're doing it, they've got a fairly commanding lead with 13 minutes left.
And this is a Mississippi State team who has probably struggled the most on the road.
Yeah.
All right, quick reset here if you're just joining. Again, if you're joining the live stream for the first time, there's a lot of comments. We try to get to as many as we can. There's just no chance we'll be able to get to all of them. If you want to make sure we get to your comment, leave us a super chat. We can't miss those. We will put those on the screen. We'll try to grab a couple of these at some point. We're going to do what we usually do in terms of trying to hit on every game. We probably bounce around a little bit, but that was kind of our initial opening thoughts on the slate on Saturday. But we'll try to go game by game a little bit, give a little bit more thoughts on what we saw from some of these. We will spend more time on some than others. Sorry, Arkansas fans. I don't know that we'll spend a ton of time on that one, even though there were some big performances. It is what it is. Don't worry, South Carolina fans. We'll get to your game because I got something to say to these two guys on the screen right here. Don't worry. We'll get to that game.
Oh, gosh.
Before we get there, let's stay on Kentucky and Alabama for a second. Brett, as always, big baller Brett.
Big baller Brett.
Needs some words of comfort. Perhaps some sunshine pumping for the Crimson Tide coming out of this game. Boy, Brett, usually I'm the guy that is pumping the sunshine. I don't know after this one. I don't know if I can. How about this, Brett? I'll give you some excuses, okay? Here's some excuses you can use coming out of this game.
What do you
There's
got?
no Latrell Wrightsell, all right? That's number one you can use. You didn't give up 120. That's another positive.
Boy,
117.
We're slipping quickly here.
It's a rough. It's just a rough game on the road, right? And listen, I say if Kentucky plays like that, let me go ahead and just lay it out there. Kentucky plays like that. Guess who's beating them in the SEC?
God help you.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody's beating them if they play like that. All right. Listen, Tennessee fans. We'll talk about the Tennessee game in a minute, but I mean, I just don't think anybody's beating Kentucky if you get that Justin Edwards and everything else you saw today. I mean, that's just Harlem Globetrotters-esque right there. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't have a lot, Brett, after that game probably to be excited about. But still, here's the thing, right? The thing with Alabama, it's not like we have said, Max, that we as Alabama is just going to – we've never said they're a great defensive team. We just said they're just going to outscore people because they're a great offensive team. And we've kind of leaned on that. And I feel like this past week we had a lot of fun with our power rankings. And we're like – at times I felt like we were – when we ranked Alabama number one, it was like, well, why are we ranking this team number one? Like, I mean, they were number one at the top of the SEC standings, had the fewest losses in the SEC, the most wins. So, like, we weren't really making a bold prediction to put Alabama at one. It was just they had managed to do what I said I thought they could do, and that was just outscore most of the teams that they played. And then today, it's like you can't outscore 117. And yeah, Kentucky got whatever they wanted. They hit a few contested shots, but let's call it what it is. I mean, there's a lot of it. Kentucky just came out, and Alabama was not prepared for that from Kentucky. And, yeah, I mean, sorry, Big Baller Brett. I know you're wanting the sunshine pumping here, but we said it, Max. Alabama's got probably one of the toughest schedules left now over the next, couple weeks. They get a tricky game at Ole Miss next. I know they just kind of lost to South Carolina in bad fashion, but of course you get the rematch against Tennessee. You got to go to Florida. That's a tough game. So a lot to be decided here over the next couple of weeks for the Tide.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that's, if you want to look for a positive here, Brett, would be that, listen, you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're still going to be number one in the SEC. Okay. And you're going to have a game on the road on Wednesday against a reeling Ole Miss team. And then you're going to have a massive game on Saturday against Tennessee at home. You win the next two games, come the first week of March, this game is going to feel like a long time ago. So if you want to look at positives and what you got going for you here moving forward, sets up a little bit nice here to bounce back.
Did you guys see the Nate Oates quote in the post game? I've got it right here. I'll just read it to you.
Yeah, read it all.
I told our guys after the game, we've had question marks about our defense all year. Those question marks are completely erased. Everyone knows we don't really guard at this point.
Oof. I mean,
well,
here's a stat. Here's a couple of stats from this game too. By the way,
she outscored the other team by one. That's all that matters. So.
Right. There were 212 points today, and a total of 54 rebounds.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Next.
What other comments we got?
We got a lot of comments. Again, guys, I'm telling you, I'm trying to keep up with these, but some of it, leave a super chat. Even if you want, leave us 1 cent. Even if you want to just leave a cent. Like, that'll at least make sure I can see the super chats. But first, we're going to get back to the first one we got here. $4.99 from Big Blue Nation representative, hoping that they stay consistent. Also, taking aim at my Titan shirt. Well, don't worry, I have my Rams shirt on today, so you don't have to take aim at the Titan shirt because we all know I like to rotate my favorite teams, right? Listen, I'm all about just the gear. If you want to send me a Kentucky shirt, I'll wear that for a price. Alabama fans, send me an Alabama shirt, I'll wear that for the price as well. So, yeah, We'll see what happens. Look, Brett breaks up a good point here. We were going to get to this in a second, but
yeah,
Alabama took 70. Remember what I said? I said the key for Kentucky. I said here's what they got to do. It's not even about how many threes does Alabama make. It's how many threes Alabama attempt. I said they got to make sure they run them off the three-point line to where they're not getting the shots they want. Because what did we say about Kentucky too defensively? They don't force many turnovers, right? So it's like they had to make sure that Alabama could not get the shots they wanted. And that's what happened. And again, it's wild to think that Alabama in a game like this, high scoring, by the way, 117-95, Alabama attempts 17 threes and only makes 6 of them. So, yeah.
Do you have the season low for Alabama 3-point attempts? I mean, that's astonishing that anybody can do that to that team.
Yeah, Kentucky did to Alabama what South Carolina did to Kentucky, right? That was kind of the same thing. I don't know. I can find it, but I assume that's a season low. Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I know they only made
19.
4 at Tennessee. I know that. I don't know how many.
19 was their previous attempt low. That was against Mercer. You said previous made low was 4. Yeah, against they made 4 against Clayton too. So, yeah.
There you go.
Anyways, the Cats. Let's quickly just stay on this for a second. I think we had a lot of Kentucky fans in here. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, if Kentucky plays that way, that was one of those games where, remember, we've talked about Kentucky, right? And it's usually we're like, okay, we know the depth's there, we know the talent's there, but we're like, this guy and this guy are stepping up, but what are they going to get from this and this? But, like, this was the sort of game where, remember, we had the Big Z week, right? We're like, we're all in on Big Z. And then, of course, the follow-up wasn't what – I mean, I know it was injury, but there wasn't much follow-up, right? I mean, Edwards, we talked about it. It's been kind of that sort of season for him. Antonio Reeves kind of been the one constant that's always been there. But, like, even through the arrow, like, look at what he's doing now.
Yes.
Like, think about all the different contributions Kentucky is getting from – I mean, it's even like Onyenso, right? Like, we talk about him. He only played 15 minutes, one block, all of this. But it's just – this is where – and remember, Bradshaw plays how many minutes in this game, Max? He played, what, a couple minutes?
He only played 5.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about a team that still has 7 foot, 7'1", 7'2", that they can play a lot of minutes. And today, like we said, Bradshaw only plays 5. Onyenso played 15. Big Z plays 20. And I don't know, man. It's just like Kentucky. It's Kentucky, Alabama. Like, are they the same team in terms of, like, we're so excited about their offense, but are we still concerned if they get the wrong matchup in round 1 defensively? What's it going to look like? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what you would say, but
I think you've got a family of teams, and it's Kentucky and Alabama, and Florida's right there too. Now, Florida defended a little bit more today, although that might have had something to do with the opponent. But yeah, I mean, those 3 teams are going to be fascinating in March. Like, I want to ask a question because you just brought up where I was going to go next. Just a few weeks ago, we were saying, hey, look, I'm sure he's a great kid, good player, but they got to get Justin Edwards off the floor to get more time for Shepard and some of these guys. Big Z comes in like a meteor flashing across the sky, a month ago now. Has done almost nothing since, reappears today. Mitchell was out, got 2 different injuries he's dealt with. And I guess the real answer is you've got it's a luxury now. Maybe you can mix and match depending on your opponent. But, I mean, they've got Shepard and Dillingham coming off the bench right now. Again, not a bad thing, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they put these lineups and these rotations together from one night to the next.
No, 100%. But one thing that I really want to emphasize real quick here is how good Antonio Reeves has been. Remember when Dalton Connect kind of went on that little run of scoring where it was up towards 30, over like a 4, 5, 6 game stretch. Reeves is not entering that territory, but he scored 22 plus in 3 straight games now. I mean, I feel like I want to stay quietly just because he just still does not get talked about enough. But man, he just makes big shot after big shot. It's kind of like how Mark Sears gets disrespected nationally. Also, Antonio Reeves, for some reason, does not get that credit. And man, he has been so good lately. But also a really kind of big note that this game has just flipped has been the seeding for the SEC tournament. Now Kentucky jumps Florida in the current standings because of the head-to-head against Alabama. Kentucky now has the win against Alabama that Florida does not. So this game, in a lot of ways, was so important and just incredible the way it all played out. One real quick thing before we move on. Blake, you mentioned Bradshaw only playing a few minutes. Calipari, here's a quote from Calipari in the postgame. I made a decision yesterday that I was going to play Z, and I did get some pushback, but I said, nope. When I wake up and that's my gut, I'm doing it. He waited his turn. So that no matter what happened that game, Calipari for some reason said Big Z's playing this game, and it turned out pretty well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he had a hunch, I guess, and thought this was the right way to do it, and so again, it worked out well in this one, didn't it? But that's a luxury that Kentucky has. It's just they got to get everybody on the same page all at once, and that's the deal, right? It's like, I mean, they're not going to score 117 against everybody, but if they have everybody doing what they did today. I mean, the mojo was there in Rupp, and as we said, the mojo had been gone from Rupp this season, and I think that was the biggest difference. And so, lost 3 home games. They bounced back with a good performance against Ole Miss, but yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that was a great win for Kentucky. It's one game, just like it's one game for Alabama, but you have to take some things away from it. Now that we only have a couple weeks left in the season, you gotta start to form an opinion based on the team we're seeing now versus the team we saw a month ago or 2 months ago, and whatever. That's all we can go on, right? So, shout out to Miles' voice here, $1.99 on the super sticker. We appreciate that. Again, guys, if you want to donate to the channel, helps us do more videos, more live streams, all that. You can do that by leaving a super chat. Again, that's just a donation to the channel. You can also join it, or it just means more tier, $3.99 a month. You can join us and support the channel. And yeah, that is how it works. So we appreciate you guys watching. So,
do we want to stick on this one, or do we want to?
Let's move to this real quick.
Yeah,
we had a rematch. Yeah.
And did you see who nearly had a triple double tonight?
I did not.
Zakai Ziegler came within a point and a rebound of having a triple double.
I thought you were talking about someone else.
Oh, sorry. Well, no. I mean, maybe they had another guy too. Were you thinking Tennessee next, or were you going to go somewhere else? Okay.
But yeah, this was a big bounce back here for Tennessee.
Blake, I'll leave it to you. Do you want to talk this one next, or you want to wait till we get a few more Tennessee fans here since that one just ended?
Well, I mean, I guess we can. Let's just get a couple of these other games out of the way real quick. All right, then we'll get back to Sam's comment after he just left the TBA at the FCC. It sounds like some kind of, I don't know, kind of parental guidance or something. I don't know what all is going on there. TBA at FCC.
Going through air traffic control.
I don't know what's going on, but like airport names to me. But yeah, let's just quickly run through a couple of games earlier. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on these. Apologies if you're a fan of these teams, but we have an hour basically to work with here, and we just need to make sure we spend the time on the games that are probably going to maybe have more of an impact. Quickly, Missouri, Arkansas. Arkansas 88, Missouri 73. Anything happen in that game, guys? Any notable performances coming out of this one?
I've got a question for you. I wonder if there's been a game in college basketball this year where 2 guys combined for more points, because Khalif Battle had 42 and just could not miss. I mean, that game was kind of close at one point, and then he just kept hitting one thing after another. And Sean East had 33 from Missouri. I'm guessing that's a single game high in the NCAA this year for 2 guys in the same game. But
maybe. I'm not sure. But by the way, if you're a Kentucky-Alabama fan, we'll get back to that game probably at some point too, because we're going to open this up for questions and comments here in just a few. So don't leave just yet. We got a lot more to talk about with a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, same story for Missouri. Just when you think they got a chance, they just cannot. They just get stuck. And so the unluckiest team in the world this season in college basketball continues to be, let's see. I wonder if they moved down any. No, actually, they moved up a spot after this game. North Texas and Murray State, officially unluckier than Missouri. The only 2 teams in college basketball that are. So, but I feel like you're kind of unlucky, though, if you give up 42 points to an opposing player. There's a little luck involved in that, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Also, some defense probably needs to be involved. But, yeah. I mean, Arkansas, how about the Hogs? They got 5 wins now in conference play, and they got a decent chance of getting out of the bottom 4 potentially, depending on how a couple of these other games play out, because they got 5 conference wins now. Georgia's got 5. Arkansas holds the tiebreaker over them at the moment. Ole Miss has got 6. LSU could only have 6 as well after this Mississippi State game. A&M's got 6. I don't know if that one's final yet. But they'll still have 6 anyways, right? So possible for the Hogs to make a move here. So I don't know. Possible.
I got one for you. What if we see A&M in the Wednesday night SEC tournament game?
It's looking more and more
the
likely.
way Arkansas is playing, and the way LSU's going to lose tonight, but it's got 6 wins.
It's possible.
when in this game, when Layden Blocker made his second 3 of the season, I was just like, oh, of course it happens to Missouri. I was just like, it's wave it off. Wave it off. But then Mekhi Mitchell gets in foul trouble and Missouri comes back, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a game. But then Battle did what Battle did, and it got out of hand quick. But for a while there, this was looking like a game because Mitchell picked up that second foul. But yeah, got out of hand quick.
Next Saturday, biggest game of the season for the Missouri Tigers.
Huge
They
game.
host
Super Bowl.
the Rebels of Ole Miss, who they came so close to beating the last time around. So we'll see.
Ole Miss is in trouble after today.
Yeah.
Should we talk about that game real quick? How about we talk about?
I think we do.
Need to.
I think we do.
How about we talk about the South Carolina Gamecocks going on the road and picking up a 72-59 victory over Ole Miss. I tell you, boys, there's something about listening to your father that is very important. And you two continually do not listen to Father Lamont Paris. You were down on him. He loses by 40. He loses by 1. That's enough for you two to go running down the street, taking the cash out of your dad's wallet. Not so fast, my friend. The Gamecocks go in and take care of business here. That was a great bounce-back win for South Carolina. I thought that was the exact kind of performance you wanted to see from this team. I told you, the midweek off, listen, everybody just take the midweek off. Like, it
that
really is working.
Huge.
It's working in your favor. So do that. If you're someone who has a game scheduled for the middle of the week, go to Commissioner Greg Sankey and say, I would like to play this game on Saturday or Sunday. I don't want to play it in the midweek. You'll do fine. So, but really, Max, I thought South Carolina did a lot of good things in this game. Ole Miss, 3 of 16 from 3. It's the same theme.
Same thing.
South Carolina will not let you get shots off. Like, that is just, it's really hard to do, and they defended, again. And I'm still impressed with this team. I lost by 40. I know they lost the game against LSU. They probably shouldn't have lost. But when it comes to, matchups in the NCAA tournament, there are going to be so many teams that are going to see South Carolina and think, well, come on. This team struggles to score at times. But they're not going to be able to replicate defensively what they're going to see from that team once they get out there and play the game. So we'd love to know their matchup right now. I know we don't, but, man, I still think South Carolina's got some things that can win you a couple games in the NCAA tournament. So
I thought we nailed this preview. I thought we nailed it. In the South Carolina defense, it was a very, very similar way of the strategy that they attacked the Ole Miss offense as the first game. You saw the same thing where they did not give them any good threes, nothing easy. And then when they did attack off the dribble, it was a quick help for a mid-range from Flanigan, from Brakefield, who was 2 of 6. Thank God Cisse went 6 of 8 from inside, or this thing would have gotten real ugly. That South Carolina defense is just not a good matchup for a low-volume perimeter team like Ole Miss. But we've got to talk about one.
Yeah, guys, calm down. We saw it. We were going to get to it, but first of all, we wanted to get to our father, Lamont Paris. Trust me, we saw it. If you saw our text thread during this, we can't release those text messages, all right? But
are you guys watching Mississippi State and LSU?
No, Chris, we've not.
But because there's a little bit of a common theme this week, and we just had, it wasn't as blatant as that, but there was a lot of really physical play today. We saw the thing that happened with Alabama, Florida the other night. I don't know if it was Trey Hannibal. It was one of those things. And you saw the look on my face because I was watching it live. It was one of those things that go up to block a shot, but kind of follows through, and it was very blatant and just knocked the other guy to the floor. I didn't see who did it, but it was another one they're reviewing for a flight. We saw a lot of that. There's been a lot of it was a very physical day. I don't know. The Flanigan thing was awful and inexcusable.
Yeah.
And I don't want to judge a guy on his worst moment. Okay. But I'm starting to wonder. I don't know that a game is enough for something like that. And I would say the same thing about what happened in the Alabama game.
Well, I mean, he's going to get suspended. Like, we know that.
He is, but yeah. I think we might need to start going 2 or 3 games for some of these, because the league just handed out one suspension, and you had one today, maybe worse than that.
Yeah, I mean, but also I think, and this is no sort of justification or excuse or anything whatsoever. There's no part for that in the game. But this is the most stressful, worn down time of the entire season, for these kids. So if there was ever a time that you would maybe expect tempers to flare, it would be now. I mean, there's no space for it at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just, if there was ever a time, it's this late February grind right now.
Yeah.
A lot of frustration at certain places right now, given, again, what's at stake. And you think about it, like, you just, again, you sort of think about, where you were like a month ago, 2 months ago, all this. And now all you're hearing is, man, like, you guys aren't getting it done, all this other stuff. But yeah, you can't go out and you can't just take a swing at a guy. No. You can't just hit somebody in the face. So yeah, that doesn't work out well. So James Beverly comment here, I'm just seeing Tennessee fans chanting NIT at A&M after they were chanting overrated. Boy,
tonight was so predictable in Knoxville. That was, you knew that's about the only thing I knew today, that was a beatdown that was coming, and it did.
Well, yeah. All right, Coach Rice. Here we go. Let's just get to this now. Okay.
That's the one thing I get to gloat about today.
Because this is something I knew we'd get to at some point, but I'm glad we're getting $10 out of it. Okay. Coach Rice, GBO, long-time watcher here at Southeastern 14. Leaves a $9.99 super chat, which we greatly appreciate. Chris, the ultimate Tennessee believer. Tell Blake and Max who the real number 1 team in the power rankings is. Please stand up. GBO, Tennessee, number 1 seed. All right.
Now that I have the platform for a moment, as I've been telling you, I like my teams to be good on both sides of the floor. It seems like the defensive end is kind of important. You guys, I believe you just disagree with me on that. So it's all good. Here's another thing. I was thinking today of all the ups and downs teams have had this year. Like Auburn has been on a roller coaster ride the last 3 weeks. Kentucky has been on a roller coaster ride the last 3 weeks. South Carolina, everybody has been here. I think the only 2 teams that really haven't been there, Tennessee had one back in Thanksgiving. Other than that, I don't think Tennessee's lost consecutive games all year. It had one stinker of a performance. That was the game in College Station a couple weeks ago. Tennessee more than got revenge for that tonight. But, Tennessee has been consistent. And the other team I would put in that category, the schedule has not been as tough, and the preseason schedule wasn't as tough either, has been Florida. Other than that, I feel like everybody in this league has had just these very dramatic ups and downs. Alabama had it today. Alabama looks unbeatable some nights. That's just the league we're in. And the thing that I respect about Tennessee is it's the one team that when it goes through those things, it's a bad game, a bad half, and that's it. And that is so hard to do. Look what happened to UConn the other night. UConn looked unbeatable and got dismantled at Clayton.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
Here's what I just want to point this out, okay? You and I were the ones that voted Tennessee number 1 in the preseason power rankings. And for most of the year, we had them at number 1, okay? The 1 week we decided to move Alabama ahead. I think we had Auburn ahead that 1 week too, but there's another like Southeastern 14 kiss of death. Anytime Max and I move somebody to number 1, you guarantee they're going to lose a game somewhere.
Good luck.
That's true.
Chris had Texas A&M number 1 in the preseason. I just like to point that out. And they're head to the NIT potentially.
I'd like to have that one back.
Well, I had Arkansas too.
Quite a few. Yeah, I did too. So I like to have that one back too. So that's what preseason power rankings are for. But Listen, I feel like we're turning this into like Alabama versus Tennessee. Like it's not like we're very obvious have said that Tennessee 1A 1B, and like you mentioned, it just I don't know. I mean, I do know how the A&M game happened last time, but it's like you play that game against A&M 10 times. I think you're getting the result you saw tonight, and I mean anywhere you play that game. I think you're getting the result you got tonight 8 out of 10 times because you have a team that just cannot. We said offensively. A&M, good luck trying to figure out what you're going to get, right? And the fact that team hit 11 threes in that first game against Tennessee, like that's just not, it was an outlier. I mean, really, it's just, and that's why, again, we knew this was kind of going to be a game where Tennessee's got revenge
Here
on
goes
the
the
mind.
focus.
Tennessee is refocused, Max Barr, unlike your camera. Tennessee has refocused and ready to go now for the stretch run of the season. But, yeah. Now, look, Sam... I know Sam doesn't want us to hype Tennessee up. What do you want us to do then? You tell Tennessee we're going to put them in the number 10 spot, Chris, for the power rings this week. Cause we're making Sam nervous by talking about Tennessee in a good way.
I think Sam, I'm sorry, just honest. I think this team's different. I really do. They've got
Chris,
they got
we
an
say
alpha
that every
dog
year,
score.
though. We really do. But
no, they've never had a Dalton connect.
No,
the
you're
closest
right,
thing they've had is a Grant Williams, and he's not the same guy.
Let's don't do this to Sam, though. We're trying to help Sam here, okay?
What are we doing to Max here?
Max is out of focus. So.
My camera is just lost right now.
I'll tell you who was focused tonight. It's Kai Ziegler, as Chris alluded to earlier. Don't worry, Max. Your camera can give us all kinds of segues.
This is just brutal.
Let's see. So, again, if you guys, I know most of you saw the final, 86-51. A&M shooting 34 threes. Get out of here. 7 of 34 for 21%. 27% from the floor. My goodness, that's just, oh my gosh. But Tennessee, again, you know they're going to defend, connect with 24. What is it? What was the final number? Ziegler had 9, 9, and 14. Is that right, Chris?
That's
9
correct.
points,
And
9 rebounds,
steals.
14 assists.
How many fantasy
Oh,
points would that have been?
I think I had him on my team this week, right?
Yeah. We need to get back to that.
Is that right?
I've lost my fantasy math brain. I used to have it down like that.
Gosh, we're in the stretch run. I know it's like I can't think of anything numbers wise.
It's the baseball basketball overlap. It's really throwing me for a loop.
What about Jonas Adu again though? We've been talking about him all year. You think about like if this was not a year.
Wow.
But like if this was a year where, let's say, we'll talk about the SEC Player of the Year race maybe sometime this week, but just think about like if Dalton Connect wasn't on Tennessee or like wasn't to that level. Like Jonas Adu would be getting talked up. Like this guy, you know, I'm not saying he's an afterthought because he's not, but it's just, man, I think Tennessee fans realize it, but I hope everyone else outside of Tennessee realizes it. Like this guy's having a special season. He's really good. So yeah, he's really, you talk about developing your game. Like this guy has just continued to make strides. I feel like, I mean, year after year, but really just, yeah, like he is just he's a beast in there. So I love Jonas Adu.
By the way, as we're doing this, Mississippi State is running LSU out of its own gym.
Oof.
This is this league, man. A couple of nights ago, LSU's hitting a buzzer beater. We're thinking that team's got a little momentum. It's been playing well.
I think I said I confidently picked LSU.
I felt better
We
about
also said
that
the
game.
hangover. I told you guys the hangover effect. I was worried about that. And I picked
You
them.
did say that. You did say
I
that.
was worried about it. So Southeastern 14 kiss of death back in play in this game.
Jeez.
Congratulations. We get one every week. So this was the one this week. So yeah.
Another thing about Tennessee real quick though, you were talking about Adu is Awaka right behind him has been a beast also. He's been a monster right behind him. I think he was coming off 18 and 10 off the top of my head, 18 and 10 I think. Had something like 12 and 6 tonight. So I mean, as good as Adu has been, his backup has been not far behind either. So it's pretty dangerous.
Guys, there's not going to be a game decided by single digits all night.
Welcome to the
closest
SEC.
game. The closest game is going to be, I think South Carolina's 13-point win at Ole Miss.
And Florida's 13-point win at home against Vanderbilt.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, State's going to win this thing by 30.
Vanderbilt has the closest margin of loss of the day.
Cheers.
Did you see the end of that game? it's.
Oh, that made the focus go out on Max's
I
camera.
feel like somebody was away.
Brutal. Oh gosh.
I feel like somebody might have
guys,
ignored
leave
them.
super chats, donations for Max's camera. All right. So this man's autofocus. Give him at least 5 cents.
Gary,
I
you're
just
nicer than that.
Please. Oh, come on, Gary. Gary's a long time.
Gary
He's
just sent me to
poking at
Mars.
Max. That's all. Gary's just messing around. Gary, South Carolina
that was a
fan.
good one.
Gary's feeling good today after this game. Let Gary have his fun. Donovan's in here. We'll talk about Auburn in a minute.
What's up next? What's up next?
I was going to mention Max and I were buying all the Toby Awaka stock there was in the preseason, so
we're
cashing in on that right now. So,
I'm gonna step out and get refocused here real quick. Oh wait, I didn't need to. Beautiful.
It's back. Let's see how long this lasts. Set your timers, folks.
2 minutes.
Let's talk about Auburn. I'm sorry, Florida Vanderbilt. Do we have anything to add on that? I mean, there's probably some Florida fans, maybe some Vanderbilt fans watching for different reasons, but I don't have anything to add on this game. So let's just get out of the way real quick so we can get to Auburn, Georgia. We got to get the people's questions.
Worst game in a long time for Zion pulling, and it didn't matter a bit. So
See Scout guy. It is ironic that Max is the youngest member of the channel. He can't even make the technology work.
I'm getting crushed tonight.
Brutal. Florida Vandy, I don't have anything. I mean, I watched as much of this game as I could. Yeah, Walter Clayton.
Like,
Walter Clayton, man. He is we talk about SEC Player of the Year race. I am telling you guys, I have not seen this good of a roster of legitimate SEC Player of the Year candidates. Even if you say like this guy's number 5 or number 6, this is a loaded field. And I know I'm going to forget somebody when I run down these names real quick, but let me just give you a couple names, right? Dalton Connect, Johni Broome, Mark Sears, Antonio Reeves. Who are we talking about?
I've got a fifth. I was going to say Zion pulling.
I think Clayton's moved ahead, maybe.
Okay.
Unless there's somebody else that I'm forgetting that I was going to mention earlier. Jonas Adu in any other year would be like a top 3 candidate probably. But there's a loaded group of Player of the Year candidates. Even if, again, it comes down to certain, maybe 3 or 4 guys that we feel like are the most obvious choices. But appreciate this SEC Player of the Year
today.
race.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, I guess we can address this question because we're not pulling it up on the screen. I don't think so. So,
one thing real quick, we mentioned Zion pulling. So, you guys know I've been preaching Zion pulling over the past few weeks. Had a rough game today, only 2 points, but was plus 25 on the plus minus. So, even though he didn't really add the offensive production he normally adds, still had 6 assists, only 1 turnover. Very good, solid defensively. The guy's built like Patrick Willis in his prime 49ers years. Don't hop off the Zion pulling train. He's right up there. I'm glad you mentioned him, Blake.
Yeah, there's a lot of good choices here. Like, you could field an entire 10-man rotation with SEC Player of the Year candidates right now.
Really?
So, we're going to get to the question. Coach Rice, I know you have the $4.99 super chat here, but we'll get to it in a second. I think we're going to end with that one because I think that's one that we can talk a little bit more about after we get to some of these games. So,
quick things while we're on Florida because we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. Someone at the very front of the chat asked about Riley Kugel, and I think he's still. What was the deal there, Max? I've already forgotten. He's not 100% healthy.
I don't know the illness, but he was on antibiotics. Had some sort of illness hampering him.
The SC Scout guy, do I think Vandy will make a move on Stackhouse? I do now. I didn't think that 4 or 5 days ago. Not reporting, can't prove it, but it seems like some things have shifted.
All right. We're done with that game. Sorry. All right. We haven't talked about Auburn, Georgia yet. Shout out to Donovan. He said this earlier, but we left it on there. We appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Donovan.
Yeah, the Auburn Tigers. I tried to tell you guys. Try to tell you about the Tigers heading into Athens, play the Georgia Bulldogs. This was I think if you're an Auburn fan, you're definitely coming out of this feeling really good because this was a game. We all talked about it. Like, I joke about picking Auburn, but, like, we were all like, oh, boy. Like,
yeah.
Coming off of that, Jalen Williams is out. We haven't seen him kind of in this setting. Georgia's played everybody close, seemingly there. But, like, my goodness. Auburn they scored 97 points here on the road, right? Like, I don't care who they're playing. That's for Auburn, that's pretty good. Like, you'll take that. And Baker Mazzara, 25 here in this game. He was like, every time you looked up, it's like, this guy's doing something.
Yep.
Chaney Johnson, Broome, Holloway, the big four, the fantastic four, if you will, for the Auburn Tigers. They did a lot of good things in this game. Hit 14 threes. Again, that's the thing, right? You look watching this game like, oh, Auburn just hit another three. They just hit another three. I mean, we laugh. It's like the same thing with Kentucky, right? It's like Auburn hits 14 threes in a game. They're beating everybody. Like, that's just game over. So, but that's, I always say, like, that's something you can build on, right? Like, that's a confidence booster for a team that struggled to shoot the ball. That's a confidence booster. You go on the road, you shoot it like they did in this game. Shot it well from everywhere. But, yeah, I mean, as always with Georgia, man, they just don't have the offensive punch, I think, to hang around. When some of these teams make a run, they just can't match it. And they went 3 of 14 in this game. I'm curious to see, what the roster looks like next year for Georgia in terms of, like, I think they just need a couple more of those guys who can go out and just string together the offensive performances that you need, right? Think about all the guys we just discussed, like SEC Player of the Year race and all that. Like, that offensive ceiling and that potential. Georgia needs more of those. But, yeah, huge performance for Auburn here.
Well, if you also think about it, Blake, that's that week off. That's how big
that week off. Yeah. You're right.
You get that midweek off, it just does wonders for you. And, I mean, Blake, you really have been the one that has been noticing the trend of when Auburn does lose, how that shooting percentage from three has been so low in their losses. You're making 14 threes. That, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And I saw, I forget who tweeted it out, but it was just like the amount of confidence that Aden Holloway must have gained tonight, and if they add that element to the team, man, add back Jalen Williams and you get this consistent perimeter threat from Aden Holloway, man, you could really see the ceiling start to be, flirted with this Auburn team and what we've been saying with the depth and everything. So just huge for the confidence for sure.
Tennessee Auburn coming up.
Jeez.
That'll be a big one. You got that one, sir.
And by the way, I do. Bye weeks are done.
No more?
I think everybody's done with
no
those.
more.
Really bulked up over the past 2 weeks. I think he had multiple, kind of had that group of 4 or whatever the number was. So, yeah, everybody's all in the rest of the way. So, big game coming up.
Aden versus Broome.
Yep. That's on Wednesday. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. So, huge game. What are you laughing at, Max?
Brett's comment.
Brett's. Gosh, big baller Brett. Big baller Brett never holds back.
I love it.
Yeah. So, anyways. All right. Well, we've talked about every game, so we're going to open you guys. We'll get Mississippi State and LSU in a second. I don't know how much we'll spend on that, but just give us a second to do it. But we want to open it up, again, comments, questions, super chats. We know you guys are leaving a lot of them right now, but again, we're talking about the games. We don't always see every comment, but if you want to make sure we do, hit that super chat. Also, if you're watching this now, there are 300 plus of you doing that. We have one request, just one. Take your finger, hit that little plus, what is it? Thumbs up, Max? That what it is? Little like button. Hit that little like button. That really helps us out, okay? If you like your favorite team, hit that like button. You don't even have to like us. Just if you like your favorite team, hit the like button. That's all we ask. So, and also hit subscribe. That will also be nice to see everything we got going on the channel here. Basketball, baseball, football, it's all here. Southeastern 14.
Blake, wasn't there a good comment that we wanted to circle back to?
There was, but let's knock Mississippi State and LSU out of the way now, just
Okay.
quickly, because it's a blowout, right? We don't. What else do we say? It's a blowout. So huge road win for Mississippi State. We said it. We all picked against them because we'd seen what they've done on the road. Hasn't been impressive at all.
Right.
And this was impressive. This was really impressive because we said this LSU team, my pick for the best 14-12 team in America, they didn't look like it in this one because Mississippi State just kind of handled their business here. And that's what you want to see from a team that's trying to fight for an NCAA tournament bid. And now they feel like they're sitting in a good spot versus Florida, Mississippi State feeling pretty good about themselves, right? Ole Miss, Texas A&M, not so good. So Mississippi State, and when was it? We had the conversation 2 weeks ago after they got blown out of Alabama, 3 weeks ago, whatever it's been. We said, all right, now's the time you're about to see Mississippi State go on a run because the schedule sets up nicely. It's all setting up now to where they win this game at LSU. Tough game. We saw Kentucky just lose there. And now Mississippi State hosts Kentucky on Tuesday. Big time game. Knowing that and that's the good thing for Mississippi State now, right? And let's go bigger in this game because this game was, again, 20 point. You're not going to play a team the rest of the way that is not at least going to be in NCAA tournament contention, right? So you don't have any bad loss opportunities left for Mississippi State because the last 4 games on their schedule, Kentucky, Auburn, Texas A&M, South Carolina. And the good thing is, even if A&M doesn't wind up making the tournament, that's a road game. So, it's not a home game. So, like, net-wise, all that, quads, whatever. So, yeah, Mississippi State's in a really good spot now, having won, 5 in a row. So,
Blake, do you know Josh Hubbard's final stat line? Do you know what he ended with?
I was about to look it up. I haven't got to reload my screen here for the final numbers, but
Josh Hubbard ended with 32 points.
Incredible.
On 9 of 17 shooting, 6 of 12 from 3, a perfect 8 of 8 from the free throw line in 34 minutes. Are you kidding me? On the
Fantasy.
road. Oh my gosh, what a game. And how about Keshawn Murphy being a complete X factor for this Mississippi State team? Don't forget Mississippi State beat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mississippi State's in. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is the time of year, though, where you've been a little bit closer. You can play your way out, but I don't think they have any way to play their way out now unless they just lose the next 5 games, which I don't see happening. So
they're scary. You don't want to see this team.
No. Not at all.
That game with Kentucky is intriguing. The matchup in the paint in particular, I think. And if Hubbard, they're going to need, I think, that kind of night from Hubbard again. But, I mean,
Kentucky ain't scoring 117 on Mississippi State. That I can guarantee.
No.
So, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think State, I don't know what else to say.
They did score 90 on them last time, though.
That's true. But that was, that was listen, if they score 90 on them this time, they're going to earn it. Mississippi State's playing some D right now. So, that's a fun matchup. We got some good games coming up.
It's starting to get so good.
Every game is important. So, but yeah. Anyways, Coach Rice asked real quickly, how do you become a paid tier subscriber? There's either a join button, something like that. Coach Rice, it gives you the option. I don't know if it's on the mobile, desktop. One of them says join, but you may have to hit 3 little dots maybe. We'll have to check it and see what the official, we should know that, but depends on what device you're using, I think. So, you can join the It Just Means More tier, $3.99 per month to do that. So,
yeah, it's join right next to the logo.
There you go. If you guys want to do that, really help us out. We're trying to cover everything we can. You guys know we do as much basketball stuff as probably anybody out there from an SEC standpoint, so we do it for you guys, so we appreciate it. All right, let's get up this $2 super chat. The general here. GBB.
That's
most talented, inconsistent team in basketball. That's going to be instead of getting a trophy, that's going to be the label that you get there. It's the most talented, inconsistent team in the world. So we appreciate the $2, by the way. General. Thank you. All right, let's see.
We got
Oh,
a
is
few to
this
get to.
is this official here? I haven't been on Twitter. Is it official? Game day's coming next week for Alabama, Tennessee. It makes sense. I get it.
Oh, it better.
So the game day strike. Reeves like, wait a second. Game day strikes again. We know what
I
happens
was
when you get
just
game
gonna
day.
say that.
Brutal.
Game day has been notorious this year.
Brutal. Get game day away. So, yeah. By the way, here, right here, 81. Come on, folks. There's 300 plus people in here. All you gotta do is just hit that button. All you gotta do. If you like your favorite team, just hit the like button. That's all you gotta do. So, all right, let's get to a couple things here.
Yeah, we got a few to get to.
If you're just joining in we've been talking for 55 minutes. Go back. We talked about your game somewhere along the way. And as always, this is a live stream. You know, we kind of go, it's hard to stay focused. Not just Max's camera, but it's hard to stay focused because we jump back and forth, all these different things. So we will talk more about your team and everything, the fallout from this weekend and the power rankings as we usually do. So, So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can check out the power rankings and everything. All right. Quickly, we're going to hit some of these. Then we're going to get Coach Rice's the big question. We're going to end on that one because I think that's the most interesting one.
Yeah.
All right, Donovan, who has trademarked the phrase, I believe, the dump at the hump. Do y'all see Auburn as high floor / low ceiling or low floor / high ceiling?
I see Auburn as,
I would say the second one.
I would say neither. As medium to high floor, high ceiling. And it's if they go, 3 of 23 on threes, that's where they're in trouble. But I mean, this team could get to the Final Four. I don't think they're going to. Well, I mean, I guess I could just give you the recipe, but I still feel like their floor is higher than most teams. Look at the Ken Palm.
Don't ask Brett.
I love
Brett,
Brett,
the ultimate antagonist here tonight. After his team gives up 117 at Rupp. Goodness gracious, Brett.
Just up to no good.
Big baller, Brett. On the streets, just out here, slinging all kinds of insults.
This is what I'll say about.
Let's comment. Matt. Apparently, Matt has some inside information here. He's got sources. And Brett's smoking some good stuff tonight. So there you go.
This is what I'll say about Auburn's floor and ceiling, and I think it pretty much just sums it up. Last week, a week and a half ago, they lose at Florida by blowout. Never even a sniff of winning that game. And then the next game, they beat South Carolina by 40. There's my ceiling and floor for you.
There you go.
There you go.
Win by 40, lose by what felt like 30. That's a wide, it's a 70-point range there.
They did it in the span of 3 days. So,
no. Look at Donovan being nice about Alabama. Big baller Brett. You can learn something here from the one and only Donovan. So, there you go. Yeah. I like this Auburn team. You guys know that. We voted them number 1 in the power rankings not long ago. And then, of course, they came out and lost.
Yeah.
But I still like this team. And once they get Jalen Williams back, again, they're not going to hit 14 threes every night. But they've just got all the depth you need. And they play defense, right? So that's Chris's big thing. He always gets on me. He's like, come on, Blake. Stop picking the teams. Just play offense. Find some teams to play some defense. Well,
here we
all
go.
right. Auburn, I'm all in. So there you go. All right. What else we got to get to here?
sorry, Gary.
By the way, SC Scout Guy wants to acknowledge Dawn Staley and her Lady Gamecocks for the 2024 SEC regular season champion. Acknowledge them like you would the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, for all you wrestling fans out there. All right, I know Matt asked a question about if we think Antonio Reeves should be an All-American. We're going to tie this into the next question. Trust me, Donovan, I know you're being sarcastic. I can't imagine anyone thought you were being serious. Trust me. So, oh, gosh. All right. Here's the big one. $4.99 super chat from Coach Rice, GBO, who I hope figures out a way to join the It Just Means More.
Oh, my gosh. And my camera just went, too.
Oh, my gosh. I'll tell you who's not first team All-SEC tonight. Max Barr's camera.
It came back. Don't worry.
All right. He's giving you $5 here for the camera. So there you go. Real deal. Who is your SEC Player of the Year as we speak? He also asked who the first team All-SEC is. We're going to have a tougher time with that. So we're going to let's just leave it to the first one. And then I believe somewhere along the way, and shout out to Henry, who just gave us a $5 super chat. We'll bring it in a second. Player of the Year right now. Who is it?
I'm going to lie. Mine's probably not popular. It probably isn't.
Uh-oh.
But he
Josh
just
Hubbard.
no. Jeez.
Hey, listen, though. You were in on the Josh Hubbard train before the season started. You got to pat yourself on the back a little bit sometimes. People aren't talking about that.
I liked Hubbard. Hubbard.
Fantastic player.
I had that on. I had that look. But I'm gonna say Mark Sears because honestly, if I'm looking back, and we've been doing on Twitter, we've been doing our weekly awards for player and team of the week. And if I look back right now, I don't know the numbers, but who is our most commonly picked player of the week? Guarantee it's Mark Sears. Guaranteed.
It's three guys. You could put Reeves in there. That's hard. I'm going to go, and I might change my mind based on a deeper look. But if you had me pick right now, I'm going to go Johni Broome, and it's because he's just so good on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
So
not that those other guys
Chris.
aren't great players, but
so the three guys would be who? You're saying it's three.
Well, I mean, it's Sears, Connect, and Broome. I think with
okay.
Reeves,
you don't.
I might need to take a deeper look at Reeves, but
I think it's a 4. I think Reeves is in there.
Yep.
If Kentucky finishes strong, I think Reeves is in there.
He's been playing phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't think you can leave him out, and we probably did at one point, but now I don't think you can leave him out. All right, so you went Sears, you went Broome. Well, this is like our predictions. Well, this is easy then for me. I'll just go Connect, right? So come on, look who's asking the question. It's Coach Rice, GBO. I really haven't. I didn't think Chris was going to pick Broome because I thought Chris could have picked Connect and I was going to pick Broome.
I did too
because I was like, but man, I just keep thinking about the Connect. It's like when Connect scores 17, it's like, boy, Dalton Connect had a bad game.
yeah.
That's how good this guy's been, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, who else in the SEC has gone 28, 36, 39, 25, 32, 31 in 6 straight games?
I'll give you the answer. It's no one.
I mean, I get it. Like, overall numbers, but man, I still feel like it's like because this guy's because he's not scored 31 points in 3 weeks, everybody's just kind of like, he's only scoring 20-something.
Yeah.
17, 14. Nah, who cares?
I think I know why this is such a hard discussion. Because if I said to you, like, who would you most want to have if you're starting a team? One of us could say, okay, I'll take a guy that's just a takeover scorer, could give you 35 in a huge game, in a Final Four type game. That guy's Dalton Connect. If one of I might ask somebody and they might say, I'd rather have a point guard, ball in his hands all the time, can score, can do whatever, can play 35 minutes a night and not slow down and push a pace that gives other teams a problem. Well, that's Mark Sears.
Yep.
I've always thought that big guys are a little bit underrated. They didn't used to be. They are more now. I think a guy that can just swat shots, it's not just what's in the stats, but it's in if I take the ball up against this guy, it might end up in the third row of the stands. And Johni Broome can do that. Johni Broome can step out and hit a 3. I mean, there's nothing that guy can't. You could say, well, he's got help from Cardwell and Williams, and he does. The one, I think the only reason I probably wouldn't pick him outright is he's not on the floor as much as those other guys, and that allows you to be more efficient. That allows you to be a lot of things. But I think that's why this is such a hard discussion, because if you name the 3 commodities that if you said, what can I start my team and build it around, those are all answers that somebody would pick. And those are the 3 very distinctly types of players that we're trying to pick around. And oh, by the way, if you want to go when more Reeves fits in that Connect category.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna dismiss any at all the idea that Antonio Reeves could win it or should have a great opportunity to do so, because he has been, like I said, so good. It is. This is one of those years. Like I said, this is the best SEC Player of the Year race I've seen in years.
It's been insane.
I think I brought up last time it was 2019, maybe, or even before that. I don't know how many years we've seen it like this, where you have so many guys that have a great claim for it. So, yeah, but we'll go further into the first team All SEC, Coach Rice on the next go around maybe. So, but yeah. Shout out to Juan. Juan, a regular here. He's a member of the It Just Means More. He's been the longest running member, I think, of this group. Gone hard in the paint all season. Yeah, we have. Max Barr takes charges like nobody's business.
Bully ball.
So Max loves it. So
true story.
right.
Me and my roommates played a game of 21 yesterday for 3 hours and no one won. I can't feel my feet today. True story.
He's hydrating, as you can see. So, by the way, Brett continues the conversation here. Will the conference champion help determine who wins this award? There's something to that, even though it is an individual award. I think it's
holds a little bit.
Something to the idea. Matt also brings up a great point about Antonio Reeves. It's like he's surrounded by all these guys that have had ridiculous games, and sometimes that can overshadow what he's done. So,
yeah. You know what's crazy? KenPom has their all KenPom team, and Reeves still is not on it for the SEC. They've got Broome, Connect, Sears, Wade, Taylor, and Aden. Nothing against Taylor and Aden, absolutely nothing against them. But I just feel like if you're talking about a top 5 list in the SEC, Reeves has got to be on there.
Listen, there'll be no Jonas AD slander on this.
It wasn't. There's no.
Oh boy! All right.
Good. And there goes.
By the way, Henry. Oh, there it goes. Henry, $5 super chat. We appreciate that, Henry. Nothing wrong with Kugel. Florida wins the last 4 games, finished 13-5. I think. What is their schedule? It is.
They've got.
Well, they're gonna win the next one. I can tell you that.
Missouri at South Carolina, Alabama at Vanderbilt.
Those are all winnable. I think they go at least 3-1. So, yep.
Yeah.
I totally see it. So, appreciate that, Henry. $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. So
I'm buying a new camera tomorrow. This is ridiculous.
You're gonna buy it with the super chat money.
Yeah.
We're gonna get the best of the best. So, all right, we're gonna finish up with just a couple of quick things, and then we're out of here. Where does Texas and Oklahoma fit into this equation next year, based off this year? It's an interesting thought.
They're both what? 8 seeds. 8 seeds, give or take a line or two, right now.
Yeah, I think seeding wise, that's about right. It's so hard to know in this era because you just expect everybody to have a different team the following year now. Where it's like, how do you even project what team's going to look like? I mean, you assume we know Rodney Terry's going to probably be there, right? He signed a big contract for this year.
Yep.
So, Mosier, all the talk about Mosier was that it wasn't a good fit. They didn't know what was going to happen there, but
not anymore.
It's changed now. So, yeah. Just adds 2 more teams that are potential NCAA tournament teams to the group. Somebody's got to finish 1 through 16. Hope it's not Missouri at 16. All right, guys. We've hit on every game. We've talked about all sorts of stuff. Donovan wants to know, is Bama still the favorite? We'll let you know in our power rankings this week. What about that segue?
I like that.
A tease.
I can't keep track of who's got the edge to win this, and these games are so crazy, night in and night. I mean, we watch these teams. Yeah. We've spent I don't know how many hundreds of hours watching these teams, and tonight we're just getting these blowout outcomes we didn't expect. I don't know how you handicap this anymore.
Here's a question for you. What are the and boy, we're not gonna go deep into this, but just I want everybody to ponder on this question as they go to sleep tonight.
Okay? What do you got?
Think about Southeastern 14 as you're laying down in your bed. This is what you're gonna ask yourself. Is there a good chance that someone other than Tennessee or Alabama wins the league? Because here's why. These 2 teams, when you look at their schedule, we know there's a loss coming for one of them because they got to play each other, right?
Yeah.
So somebody's losing another game right there. But when you look at the remaining schedules, We said it. Tennessee plays Auburn on Wednesday at home. Tennessee goes to Alabama. Rematch out South Carolina, who they've lost to already. Hosts Kentucky. Those are the 4 teams around them in the rankings right now, right? Those are the top 4 teams in the league not named Tennessee in terms of the standings, right? Is that right, Max? Or Florida's in there somewhere, but they're Kentucky.
There is a tornado going on up here right now.
Yeah. But think about that, right? That's Tennessee's schedule. We've already talked about Alabama's schedule. Alabama has to go to Ole Miss, which, they host Tennessee at Florida, home against Arkansas. I mean, look, I think Alabama's going to beat Arkansas, but at least Arkansas is trending in the right direction. Like, it's not a gimme as much anymore, I guess. So, South Carolina and Auburn looking at us like, maybe.
I like
maybe.
it.
Just think about it. That's all I'm saying. Matt, read a bedtime story.
You guys just saw that.
What do you think? You guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, I've got a few. I'll let you guys go first.
Well, I already went.
Okay, Max.
I'll end on Blake's. I like that. Chris, you and I have been kind of teasing a few teams that can make the tournament down there outside the bubble, but another storyline here now that's kind of picking up some steam here is these top 4 seeds here for the SEC tournament. And guys, with only a few games left, every single game is like life or death here for this SEC tournament, because the paths, we tweeted out the paths a few days ago, and I'm telling you, the difference between a 2 and a 3 is huge for who you're going to have to play. So, I mean, man, it's really picking up steam here.
All right, my thoughts in no particular order. I will just go ahead and tell you Tennessee's my number 1 in the power rankings. I'm just very impressed with what that team can do so consistently, night in and night out. Well, the question is, what are you guys going to do? Because you already knew what I was going to do.
We're never going to give you.
You're going to do it just to spite me.
We may bring, I don't know, South Carolina back up to the top. Who knows at this rate?
Well, now here's the thing. You guys, here's where I'm playing. Well, you guys could split the vote. One of you could name Auburn, one of you could name Alabama, and then that could really screw it up. But anyway, in all seriousness, I'm so impressed with Tennessee's consistency on both ends of the floor in a league that is just topsy-turvy crazy. That kind of consistency is remarkable. Number 2, Kentucky. Where does this go from here? Just with all the parts, I'm fascinated with that. I mean, Kentucky's got, what is it? Alabama. I mean, no. I'm sorry, Mississippi State. Mississippi State next. I'm sorry, they don't have a rematch against Alabama. They that's what I meant. I'm sorry. At Mississippi State is going to be interesting because the styles in the fight there. And Mississippi State now has won 5 in a row. We didn't mention that. I think that's the longest winning streak in the conference at this point. Is that correct?
So, yeah.
So that's kind of sneakily intriguing. And State's wins have been against a lot of the lower part of the league, so that's not really gotten people's attention. So that's another thing. I think the bottom end, I just don't. Let's see, A&M's got games left. A&M is going to be a fascinating discussion. You've heard it in all the bracketology shows. You heard it talked about today. I think they said no team with 6 quad 1 wins has been left out of the field. I don't know if A&M can lose a quad win.
14 losses has been left out of the field because they're getting close to that.
Well,
based on
I think they may be the exception. I don't know that I endorse that pick, but anyway, that's going to be interesting to watch. Just for whatever. And Ole Miss, can Ole Miss get this back? A week or two ago, we said we thought the SEC had 9 teams in. I don't think the SEC got worse as a league. Just the wrong teams lost in the wrong spots.
Yep.
And so here we are. So I just think there's everywhere you look, this league is fascinating. And this is as much fun as we've had watching basketball, between the storylines, the styles, the high scoring. The next month is going to be a ride.
So you're picking Tennessee to win the league as of right now, Chris.
Yeah.
All right.
Because Auburn at
Southeastern
home.
14, kiss of death.
Oh boy, but I hadn't realized that schedule is brutal. Auburn at
that's
Alabama.
what I was talking about. That was the lead-in. Is it going to be anybody other than Tennessee or Alabama? Because look at their schedules.
We could talk about this all night.
We could.
Yeah,
we're wrapping up.
I don't have an
1 hour
answer.
and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Chris is picking Tennessee. He's picking Tennessee to win the national championship. Sorry, Sam. He just did it.
I don't know who I'd pick. I mean, to win the league, power rankings and who's going to win the league are different things.
All right. Well, we'd like you to have your answer by Monday. Report to class.
I'll get it to
8
you by
a.m.
Monday.
All right. Wrap it up. We're done here.
All righty.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody for watching. If you do leave us a comment or a like, that helps us get noticed. We cover football, basketball, baseball. I had one eye on baseball. Had one TV watching some baseball, one watching basketball all day. So we are getting a little deeper to that. We haven't done a ton of baseball content yet, but it's coming. So we've got that. We'll be talking some Florida football next week on the channel and working on, I think, maybe Texas. See if I can get that one wrapped up, which I think I will. So we're here for all of it. Hope you guys are too. For Max Barr, for Blake Lovell, we appreciate you guys watching. God bless you. Have a great night. We are Southeastern 14, presented by Bet Online.